Hello, Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise with the next installment in my Meeples for Sheepish Peoples series, where I talk about the social activity of board games in the lives of people who aren't socially outgoing. Oh, hey there! Hey, actually, quick note before we plunge too far ahead. The responses I received from our first segment on this topic were great, and they included some really thoughtful suggestions, which I thought I should address. So I apologize for this unexpected short detour before we delve further, but here we go. First off, I previously talked about how introversion is a cause of the sheepishness described in this series' title. But it's important to clarify that this series is actually going to be addressing at least two related but separate topics as they relate to gaming. Introversion, but also social anxiety. Now, it's important to note that one does not equal the other. While introversion means that a person finds their strength from within, as opposed to from interaction with others, social anxiety can prevent a person from interacting with others in the first place. Now, the two are not mutually exclusive, and one does not necessarily mean the presence of the other. This series will touch on how both can affect a person's gaming experience. Oh, and speaking of experiences, everything that I'm going to talk about in this series is simply based on my own experiences, and I'm certainly no expert on the subject. And I'm not claiming to be a trained professional, so please don't interpret any of this as sound mental health advice. It's just me talking. Additionally, being an introvert doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be all by yourself alone. Instead, an introvert may become very outgoing in a small group that they're familiar with, but then very reserved in a crowd of strangers. The larger the group, the longer it may take for them to warm up. And speaking of warm up, now that we've set a baseline and we're all warmed up together, next time we'll start to get into the meat of the conversation, starting with ways to make it easier to participate in a gaming gathering that's larger than your comfort zone. See you then.